So yeah, I'll jump right in, and then if people join, then they can get caught up.
Mm-hmm.
So can you tell me, how are you a single agent or do you have a team?
I have one broker with me.
Okay.
Uh, he's working with the buyers, and have an assistant, two assistants,
Okay.
and I
Great.
have one broker on the phone.
Okay. Fantastic.
Yeah,
And then how many years have you been in the business?
17.
17. Awesome. Okay. So I'm sure some of the things that I'm going to go over today you've heard before. And then hopefully some of them you can add some things to your business.
Yes, yes. Always
Okay.
be learning, eh? That's what they say.
Great. That's right. That's right. Okay. So I'm going to start. Always recommend reading The E-Myth by Michael Gerber. Have you heard of that book before?
The what?
The E-Myth.
No.
No? Okay. So it's really about systematizing your business. And he has one that's for the real estate agent and real estate brokerage. And so when
Okay.
you're systematizing your business, that's kind of taking a look at every single thing that you can take human discretion out of. So if you can have a system for everything, especially for your broker that's on the phone and your administrators, they do the same thing in the same method every single time, then you can
Yeah.
start automating things and running that way on.
SOP.
Exactly, exactly. So definitely recommend the E-Myth, and it does go through a lot of things in your
Can you
mindset.
write the name of the book in the chat so
Yeah,
I
here, and I'll put that in there. I'll put that in the chat.
try to find it over here? Yeah, Audible.
Here we go. And there is
E-Myth. Okay.
so there is a version, he has different versions, and there is the real estate agent version.
Okay.
So I'd recommend that one. And then, of course, too, there is a very popular book, The Millionaire Real Estate Agent by Gary Keller. That's a great book as well because it talks about being a single agent and how you can grow and different methods that you would use to be able to implement buyer agents. That's exactly right.
Okay. Perfect.
Yeah, so that's a great book for sure. And one of the things that it really talks about is having it like a business, because a lot of, especially real estate agents as entrepreneur mindset people, we kind of fly by the seat of our pants and we'll run through things without, I have to get to this, I have to get to this. And then you're on to the next showing or you're on to the next offer. And then it's not, how do I slow down and create this in a way that someone else can copy, right?
Exactly.
Or I can have someone jump in and train them. So there's a few things. Definitely, you want to memorialize everything and you want to have checklists for every single thing that you do. If you don't have any checklists, I would start with paper, which, it's old school, but it's the best way because you can cross it off, change it. And
Mhm.
if things aren't working, just start with the paper checklists, get your basic methods in place. And then once those are fine-tuned, then you can do digital checklists. I find if you can't stick to a paper one, you're going to have a hard time going digital because when things
Mhm.
are digital, you often forget about it after. Until it's ingrained in you to go through those steps, I would stick to paper first. And then definitely as you're going through that, you want to stick to your plan too. So once you've created your checklist, go through that plan and keep working through it. And then you'll find where, oh, we should add this into it. We can layer this on top of it. And I'll go through some different methods that you can use the checklists in different parts of
Mhm.
the business. And then,
Are you recording that?
yes.
Okay, so and after that, when we want to see, let's say, watch it again, or is there a place where I will receive it by email, or
Yeah,
what
so
should we-
I'll send you, we have a login for the Northern Alliance website. And in
Okay.
the back end, you can access any of the previous trainings that we've done.
Okay.
So you have them for the whole last year and you'll be able to
Okay.
access those.
Very
So I'll
good.
make sure that you get that too.
Thank you.
Yeah, not a problem. Hi, Miranda. Okay, so all right. So then what you want to do, and this really tags into that book, The E-Myth, you want to treat everything like it's an assembly line. So as you're growing your business, you can have different admin jump in, or you can layer more agents into your business as well. But you want to think there, I'll give you two examples. You want to think of Henry Ford when he created that assembly line for the first cars that were going through, and everyone had a job and a set task, and they did it the same every single time. So that's how you want to treat your checklists and the systems that you're using, is that it's always done the same. And then that's how you can have, you know, that things are happening with quality control and in a timely manner instead of trying to remember that you have to do all of those things. And then you also think about McDonald's, right? And they make the burger and the fries the same way every time. If you ever worked in a fast food restaurant and you've been in the back section, you see they have the pictures of exactly the layers that everything is supposed to be done. If we take that methodology, we can put it into our business in every single thing that we do. And it's just making that burger and fries the exact same way every time, because there are so many different surprises that can happen in our business, right? Unexpected phone calls, um, issues with inspection, negotiations, lockboxes not working because they're frozen. There's so many different things that we can't control. But the things that we can control, if we hone in on those and do it the same way every single time, you're going to be better suited to deal with those issues as they pop up and those surprises. So we'll start, one of the key things that people sometimes they'll forget, or sometimes people have them in place, is your listing presentation. Some will go in and they'll completely wing your listing presentation, and it's not a systematic approach into how you're taking things. And so it can get really tiresome, and you can really get bogged down with having to come up with the way that you're going to sell yourself to someone and just building a rapport. But if you have your listing presentation done and you have it done the same way every single time, or your buyer presentation that you're teaching to your agents that you've brought onto your team, your it's easier for you to close because you've gone through all the steps and you haven't missed something. And it's not, oh yeah, let me go back so that I can tell you about this that we've done. And then when you're in front of your clients, you look like more of a professional and that you have everything set up, ready to go. And then your intake of listings should be the same way as well. Instead of just, handing a file over to your administrator, there's a certain checklist and everything that has to be gone through when it hits their desk so that they're able to service your client properly as well through that assembly line. So you can do that through your listing intake, through processing a sale, for your hiring practices, for campaigns for when you're calling clients, when you're doing past client closing campaigns as well. All of those things can have a system so that you can put the right people into place so that you can continue to scale and grow your business. Or on those days that, you know, as entrepreneurs, sometimes we really just don't feel like doing it. But if you have a system that you can plug into, you're not having to think about it and you're not having to grind out and do it. You're just plugging yourself in. So you're leaving less things to chance that way. And when you're leaving less things to chance, you are servicing yourself and your clients and your staff better. So consistency will win above all else. And we see that in everything, right? For our mental health, for the way that we speak to ourselves, for when we're, exercising and working out, the foods that we eat, the way that we treat others. If we keep things consistent, and those small little things really build up and amplify. And the same are with your systems. I know a lot of people don't like to thinking about systems and that like rigid process of things, but being consistent in it is really what's going to help you amplify everything and take out all those stressors of the unexpected. So let's see here. So creating a process for the guide and for a process guide for staff and agents to follow, the earlier that you do this, the better. So I know, Yannick, we were talking before, and you've been in it for 17 years. You probably have some systems and guides in place. And sometimes you don't even realize that you have created a system if you haven't memorialized it. So every single aspect, if you can go through and memorialize it, and then you can set expectations and accountability for everyone that you have on your team. And then if you're the only person on your team, you can set those expectations for yourself. And then it's easier for when you're setting the expectations for your clients because you're able to share the plan that you have with them. So then it's, you know that the staging process happens this way. You can expect this from the stager. Our photos will happen on this day. You'll receive your MLS sheet to review at this point, and then we'll go on MLS at this point. And then you're able to tag them through the process. So it's not what's happening with my listing, what's happening with my listing. They already have a set expectation as to when it's going to hit. And then after you go on MLS, if you're sending them a systematized report as to how many showings have they had, how many hits on MLS, how many realtors have favorited it and sent it to their clients. If you can send that to them every week too, it makes it easier when you're having the conversations with them because you've gone through from the very beginning your presentations and then the process for going on MLS and then the timing that it's going to hit. And then you're sticking through that system that when you go to send them the market report as to what's happening with their listing the same time every week, they know what to expect from you instead of, I haven't heard from you, what's happening to my listing. You're getting out in front of all that information before because you have that system in place. One way to really keep organized, and a lot of people ask us this question all the time, is what's the best CRM to use, right? Your database. And there's not really it's not the right question to ask because it's the one that you use. You can have the best CRM out there, but if you're not using it on a consistent basis, it means nothing. So often we will recommend that people start with a Google spreadsheet, just keeping it really simple of the top people that they have to be contacting, especially if they only have a small group of people that they're working with. Or if you haven't been working on your past clients and you don't know where to start, pull in the ones just on a Google sheet that these are the top of mind people so that I can move them through my process to get them to that past client. And then you can start adding them into a database and creating those layers from there. But if you're not using your database, I would definitely start with just keeping it simple, like those paper sheets, but having it on that Google spreadsheet and then walking them through that process. And then it's all about the follow-up and how you follow up. So you can, like we had said, you can have the best database, but if you're not using it, it, starts to just become an expense that's not really helping you. So what are your sequences for following up with people? What are the scripts that you're using when you're following up with them? How quickly are you getting back to people? If you have leads that are coming in through your website, are they coming into the database and then just sitting there because you don't have a system? Or do you have a system for when someone comes in, this is when they're contacted, and then this is when you're following up with them so that you're not missing those people? And then what's your system? Who's handling that initial call? Is it your broker who's on the phone? What is their handoff to somebody once they've booked an appointment? And then are they filling out the right steps for when they have booked an appointment to get that information to the agent? All of those things are checklists, going through the system and not winging it so that you have set expectations for everyone who's working in the business. And then it goes right even to how are you distributing the leads? And then do you know what your advertisement is saying? And is it offering what you are capable of giving? So many times we're willy-nilly just purchasing online lead generation. So, there might be a platform that they promise you 100 leads a month. What is that ad and that hook for them to get that over to you so that you're getting the leads? And speaking from experience, we had a lead generation company that we had hired, and it was instant evaluation into your home box or into your inbox. And some of the ads even said, no need to speak to an agent. So we were shooting ourselves in the foot because then we would have our ISA would be calling. We wouldn't know what the ad said. We were just, buying the leads because we were promised home evaluation leads and seller leads. And we would call them and they would say, well, you didn't send it instantly to my inbox. So then right there, we were off on the wrong foot because we didn't know what our ads were saying. We didn't know what they were talking about. And then it was, well, I was told I wouldn't have to speak to an agent. Right. So right there, our system was breaking down before we were even having our initial contact. And then we had to do a deep dive because we went to that advertising company and they said, well, we won't share that ad with you because it's proprietary information and you could just copy us. So it's like, okay, so are they giving us the best business practices and how are we able to set up our systems with calling people if we don't have the right information and what we're even promising to them? So from there, we did do a deep dive. We found the ads, we had them change them. And then our conversations completely changed with our inside sales agents after that because we weren't promising something that we weren't delivering. We were offering them a home evaluation, and then the landing page, and then at the end, the thank you page was someone from our team will get in touch with you. So they knew that a phone call was going to be happening instead of, why are you calling me? I was told I wouldn't have to speak to an agent. So it completely changed the way that we were able to book those appointments. So we really started to obsess with the process in order to make it more successful. So that was a really difficult thing for us to do, but we really honed in and obsessed over it. And then you have to, the follow-up is so much more important than just picking up the phone and asking them, like, are you ready? Are you ready to buy yet? Are you ready to sell yet? What are the questions that you're asking them in order to know what it is that they're even looking for? So you have to really remove yourself from that spot in the assembly line and look at the whole picture to find where the holes are in things so that you're able to leverage and use your systems for growth so that you're able to not be wasting time and caught in the weeds on different things. So yeah, in terms of CRMs, we do use Follow Up Boss. It is one that we really like. We've tried a few different systems, but again, it's only as good as the people are that are using it, right? So we have expectations that are set for when a lead needs to be responded to, and then automations to make it easier for them. And then we also have accountability and to ensure that if a lead isn't contacted, that something happens to that lead so that it does get followed through, so that we're not just, blasting leads into the system that nobody's communicating with. Any questions so far? No? Okay. So spreadsheets are really crucial in everything. And I know sometimes it can be really hard for that entrepreneur person to sit down and create those spreadsheets and go through all of your numbers. But I would say, going right back and track everything, know your metrics for everything that you're doing. So we do track everything that's going on, and it's not just the sales. So everyone should know how many sales that they've done. We do have, we have had meetings with different agents where we'll ask them, how many sales did you do last year? And they're like, oh, I don't know. I would guess it was this many. Like, I can tell you exactly for the entire business, who did buyers, who did sellers, what was their average sale price, what were the days on market, what was the commission, and what was the lead source, and how long was that lead sitting in our database. And then that's how you're able to track and know, are you selling more than the average sale price? Is there money in your business that you can find with just going after higher price listings? Are you cutting your commission too much? Are you actually making money on all of those different leads that you're bringing in? Right? And then, how much is each transaction costing you? Are you paying for staging and photos and video and the admin to be putting it up? How much are you paying for your signs and your lock boxes? Are you losing lock boxes? All of that information matters for when you're looking at that commission rate and that sale price, and if you're profitable on that portion. But you're not going to know that if you're not doing spreadsheets and you're not tracking your metrics. And it's like, I think I did 20 deals last year, right? So that's important. And then also a big one that we've been tracking for, about 7 years is our source of business. So every deal that comes in, we know exactly where the source was. So then we know how much we're paying for that source, how many deals have come in from that, how much work is it costing us to transact with that particular lead source, and if we're getting a return of investment on that particular one. And we also know how quickly we're getting back to inquiries, what our speed to lead is, and then the age of the lead. So are we having some of our leads, are they taking 11 months to convert, 12 months to convert? How many calls is it taking to actually convert that particular person? So all of that stuff is really important to know. Is it worth the money that you're spending on that particular lead source? And you won't know that if you're not tracking it with your system. And we also use spreadsheet for data on our market reports. So for every one of our listings that we have, we go through how many hits do we have on MLS? How many realtors have seen it? How many client views? How many client portals has it fit into? How many showings have there been? How many websites is it syndicated to? What are the hits on social media? And then we know what are the days on market. And then we also compare it to in their neighborhood, what are the average days on market? So we put, I was going through with our marketing team this morning. We were putting one of them together, 15 days on market. We had all the stats for what's happening. And then we also know in their district, they're sitting at 51 days as the average. So then we're able to see once that starts creeping up to the average and something hasn't happened with their listing based on the number of showings, it sets you up to be able to have that discussion for a price reduction. But every single week, you've been sending them the metrics so that they know it's easier to have that conversation to call them and say, based on this, 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 and this, and what's happening in your neighborhood, we recommend reducing your price to this. Instead of, what's happening with my listing? I haven't heard from you. The first thing you do is you've called me with a price reduction, but I don't know what's happening. But you've been lining yourself up so that you're ready for that price reduction. Because you've put in the work with the systems, you're able to have an easier conversation. Okay. And then automations and dashboards. So as you grow your business and more people do become involved, we need to upgrade those systems as well. So the paper checklists, like we had talked about in the very beginning, are great. But after a while, it does come to a point where you might have, we have a staff, we're a total 7 people now on our staff. So we've got certain people in the different spots are going to have different roles that they have to do. And then so we have the digital checklists, and a great system for that would be Trello or Monday, which is my favorite now. And then we're able to notify people. So once our listing coordinator has done certain steps, the social media content designer gets notified that they have to do things. The front desk concierge gets notified that they have to do things because our systems have become so large at that point. But it started with paper and then the basic digital checklists, but now we've been able to move that up. And then we also look at the systems for onboarding our agents. So we have a whole dashboard that we have for onboarding our agents. I can show you a sample of that as well if you'd like to see. And I'll pull that up here. I'll just share my screen. Here we go. So we have a dashboard for when we onboard the agents on our team. So they know who to contact for any of the questions that they have here. And then they have different links that they can click so that they can go through the system. So we have administrative items for what to do when you first get onboarded. So it's kind of like a checklist of things to do where you're going to update your social media, sign into your Metro City email, get set up with follow-up boss, your headshot, your voicemail, just those simple administrative tasks when you first come on board, because it's easy to lose sight of some of the things that you want to do. And then we have our training tools. So we've got all the videos on how to learn our listing presentations and our buyer presentations. We have different certification training for AI that they can tap into. We've got CMA training, FSBO training, listing objection handling, and all of them are in a dashboard that you can click, watch the video, then they can go through with our team leaders to show that they understand it so that they can move into the next part of the assembly line to be getting leads and getting different appointments. And then here we have different scripts. So if they're ever not sure about, what do I say to my past client? What do I say for a price adjustment, open house protocol? We've built all of that in there. So it's a one-stop shop because it's much easier than someone on the team calling and saying, I don't know how to handle this particular situation. You can start with the script and then you're able to role play with them because they've read that part of the material as well. Then we have links for webinars and our calls. Like we've got our Northern Alliance weekly Zoom that we're on right now. And then we've got different things for the coaching that we do and different trackers. And then we have recommended readings and useful links. EXP deposit instructions for them to find, or our open house sign-in sheets, our logos, all of that information there. So this is just a sample, and we've really grown that over time because we do have a large team now, and we've been able to put all of these things into play. And then everybody's onboarding dashboards will look different, but it's just a simple Google sheet that we've plugged in all the links to of things that we've reported in the past. Okay. All right. And then we even go right down to our system for hiring different people. We've had lots of different people in different roles over the years. And I like to think that we've um, gotten a lot better at hiring people and finding the right fit. So the number one thing is, who are you looking for and what type of role are you, like, the role that you're hiring for, who is the right person for that fit? So, we call it an avatar, the person that you're looking for that would blend into the team, but also have the right skills that you're looking for. So, we have, I've gone and I've created a spreadsheet for hiring, and I will even rank the people based on once I've looked through their resume and it's somebody that I'd like to talk to. I will call them to book a phone interview. And at that point, I'll even rate, like, how do they answer the phone? Are they answering the phone like someone who is professional expecting a call because they've put in their application somewhere? Or are they answering the phone and they sound really down and maybe that they're still in bed or they don't really care? So that's something, like, right from the beginning, we will do a scale of 1 to 5 on how they're answering the phone. I'll send them an email to book their interview, and I see if they're able to follow the instructions in the email that I give. Then we have assessments that we will send as well. How do they follow those? So all of those steps, we just hired some new people. I was able to take 100 resumes down to 20 calls, down to 10 in-person interviews, down to 2 candidates to hire the person that's the right fit for the job. But it can be really overwhelming when you have all of those people just sending things in on Indeed or on Facebook and trying to sift through it. But I just had a spreadsheet and just clicked through all of my different things on the items and what we were looking for. So that really helped. And we had a specific criteria of who we wanted so that we were able to just weed the people out. But that's taken a lot of practice of hiring some of the wrong people to be able to find the right system. So you're not going to have the right system from day one, and there's going to be a lot of learning things and sometimes not necessarily mistakes, but failing forward on different things, trying to find that right system for you so that you can maximize that into your business. And then, of course, setting an example. So going back to consistency and setting an example, if you're expecting your agents and your administrators to follow a system, you have to do it as well because the leadership flows down. So that's everything that I wanted to go over with the systems and the processes. And I can open it up to Q&A now if you have any questions for me. If you don't have any questions, then I can leave it at that, and I can just send you the recording afterwards so you have the information you need. Yannick, did you have any questions?
Um, the only thing is, you said you were working not with Trello anymore, with Monday, is that right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, and I use a follow-up bus also.
Okay.
And I used to put all my tasks in there, but it seems that you put all your tasks in Monday instead of follow-up bus, or
So we do both. So when it comes to following up with clients, we will use the follow-up boss system so that you have tasks in there. But then I can show you, can share our screen for Monday. I'll just pull this up here.
I'm using Trello
Oh,
right
you're
now.
using Trello? Okay. I'll show you, because I'll just show you our listing board. And Trello was great for us, but I found we needed, we needed more because it wasn't sending the right notifications to people at the right time. And it was harder to see things in the layout that we wanted to see it. So I'll just show you. Let me share my screen here. So Monday just came more robust for us after a while. We do have 101 active listings on MLS for the whole team right now. So we needed something that was like a really big system that we could use. And so we've got different statuses on things. And then I'm able to click through this and just go through all of the different checklist items that we have. And then we have automations just like you can in Trello, but we have them set up in a different way. And then we've got, I can click here and I can see different things that were completed, and we can have the paperwork in here, notes, attachments, photos, pricing, all of that. And then I can have, once a status changes on MLS and it goes to a conditional sale, it flips over to a transaction board for our transaction coordinator. And then she's able to put in all of the information here. And then I can create a Google Sheet based on the information that's coming through. So Trello is great, but this was just something that was easier for us with using the Google Sheets and everything that we needed to have come through on the other side as well.
Okay, but in follow-up buzz, do you use the deals section
We'll
for?
add deals, but we will use Monday for the administrative tasks.
Okay.
So we'll create a deal in there so that we can tag a deal to a person, but otherwise everything else that we're using is in Monday. So yeah, we have the tasks in there so then I can click on that particular listing and it will be like, first call to the client, book their staging consultation, follow up with that. When are their photos? When's the sign? The lockbox? All of that is in there. And then we have like the links to the photos. We send document reminders to the agents to let them know if they're missing information, all of that kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
Yeah, great. Well, I'll make sure that this gets posted. So if you wanted to revisit it, and then if you have any questions, just let me know. We're happy to help.